3 coplanar points, and bam, there's the radius of the Earth.
On the level.
The way I phrase it is a monument to the curvature of the Earth. It really is.
Level.
It really is.
Level.
And bam, there's the radius of the Earth.
Listen to my words very carefully, Travis. Definitions are meaningless. I think at different points on the Earth, then level is not parallel to each other. Right, so in your example, you've got you don't actually know the distance yet, but you've got the actual size and the angular size, which is the 10 milliradians. That is what that 100-to-1 ratio means. All right, so you've got 2 parts out of 3 for your equation. That's how you can work out the distance, right? In my example, I don't have an actual size or a distance. I just have the angular size because I have the 10 milliradians between the stadium arcs.
Angular size of what?
The angle between the horizontal and the horizon.
So hold on. When you do an observation, how do you work out what the gradient is?
Well, you can't take an infinite number of measurements to work it out exactly. That's why you have to get above the surface where the gradient is more predictable. So all these observations that are done really close to the surface, there's no way you can accurately work out what the gradient is. And that's why you get, one day you'll get a black swan, other days you'll get massive inferior mirages. It's unpredictable. So the line that I always say, get well above the surface where the density gradient is much more predictable, and the refraction amount will be very close to 7/6R. And that's why you shouldn't do observations close to the surface. This doesn't need the radius in it. I mean, you can do this with a flat flat base, right? It's just that it's easier and more useful if you use it in terms of a radius multiplier. It's more useful for doing the geometry if you just express it as a radius multiplier.
Oh, geometry.
Yeah, your terminology is a bit vague. It's too vague for me.
All right, watch my videos. Fine.
Geometry? You know Bev's here, right?
Oh, I've heard this fucking debacle of a debate, yeah.
Well, is that what you said curving?
Yes, I did say curving.
Is that the level that you think curves?
What?
Is that level that you think curves?
Are you asking what I think level means?
Yes, I'm saying, do you think the level curves and the light matches that curvature?
I think at different points on the Earth, then level is not parallel to each other.
Okay, so you don't think level is horizontal then? Because horizontals are parallel to the horizon, aren't they?
Level is perpendicular to down at any one place.
Perpendicular to vertical?
Yes, down, up and down.
Horizontal then?
Down.
Yeah,
down
that's horizontal. Yeah. Horizontal.
Down is when you drop something, that's where it goes.
Would you agree that horizontals are parallel to the horizon?
Did you have to pick it up, Ruhif?
Horizontals are parallel. I would say no to that. The horizon does curve left to right.
So you wouldn't say that horizontals are parallel to the horizon then?
I would say the horizon is curved. So, yeah, if your horizontal is a straight line, then no, it can't be.
So when horizontals are defined as being parallel to the horizon, does that not have a bit of a problem with it, what you've just said?
Yeah, I'd say that's a bad definition for horizontal.
Would you?
Yeah.
Can you find us a definition of horizontal that doesn't involve being in a plane parallel to the horizon?
Horizontal, perpendicular to a plumb line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and parallel to the plane of the horizon, horizontal. Is that the definition? It doesn't really mention vertical.
Yeah, argue definitions.
Yeah, the problem, Ruhif, is all you did was express your own thoughts on answering Bev's question, but Bev asked you. No. Listen, he asked you for a citation, even though he didn't use that word. When he said, "Can you give us a definition?" He wants you to produce a definition that you can cite that will back up your position on what the horizon does.
Listen to my words very carefully, Travis. Definitions are meaningless.
Horizontal definition is very meaningful. It is one of the reference frames everyone uses.
All we use words for is to try and convey information. All right? If we're using words in a different context, it's meaningless.
Yeah, and horizontal is in a plane parallel to the horizon. Everyone knows that.
That's a shit definition. It's a shit definition.
Ruhif. That's probably one of the worst.
Oh shit! Thanks, Flat for Life. Really appreciate that with the $20 donation. Really appreciate, man. Thank you very much.
Google there, haven't you?
Yeah, listen to me again.
Horizontal definition, mathematics, if you want.
Definitions have usages, not meanings.
All we're asking you for is one demonstration where you can find some sort of support for your position. That
Listen again. Definitions are meaningless. I don't care whether there is a definition that matches yours. I think that definition is shit. If we can come up with another word, can you make up a word where we can agree that this word means?
Really. In your world, it doesn't matter. You are deconstructing any ability to have communication, Ruhif.
Because we disagree on the definition of a word.
Horizontal. It's not just a random word, this horizontal.
It's perpendicular to up and down.
Perpendicular to vertical, yes. Yes, I understand fully what it is.
We agree on a definition, so let's use that word.
That is level. That is also horizontal, right? If you don't think level is horizontal.
Yeah,
right?
You're arguing about
you can't get away from the fact that horizontals are parallel to the horizon.
And I think it's a shit definition.
You can't get around geometry, dude.
Can I ask the question in a slightly different? There's background noise coming from somebody. It's like they're in a I think it's right to hand.
Yeah,
Chris, it sounds like you're in a factory or something. There you go. Thanks, man.
There you go. Thanks.
I'll ask the question in a slightly different manner. So you made the assertion that the horizon is a curved line. What do you base that on, Ruhif? What is your evidence for that?
Oh, Jay Tolan's plane footage for one.
You're using Jay Tolan's plane footage to substantiate that?
That was the first thing that came to mind, yes.
Okay.
You get up high enough and you squash the horizon on a rectilinear lens. In fact, Rory did a great one. Rory got up, I think, 400 or 500 meters on where did he live? Lived off in the fucking ocean somewhere. He had the Horizonator 3000, so he had like a straight piece of metal, and then he put that up against the horizon and then pushed it together. So it sort of eliminated any barrel distortion or pin cushion distortion in the lens, and showed the curvature on the horizon.
I think I might have an example of what you're talking about. Maybe we can look at, and you can tell me if this would count. This would be an example of the type of proof that you're talking about. Let me share my screen. Okay, you should see it in Discord.
Hang on.
So high altitude photo taken from a plane. I don't know the exact altitude, but
the horizon's not distinct there, right?
Right. So do you have one where the horizon is distinct? Because every one of these photos that I've seen, you can't make out a distinct horizon.
Yeah, because Jay Tolan had infrared camera, so he had a much more distinct horizon. I can't just pull these things up.
Sorry, can I just ask if the horizon isn't parallel to horizontal? Which one is it?
It's curved, so. It depends again on your definition of parallel. I mean, you can have a curved line be parallel to another curved line under some definitions of parallel.
Have you got a number for that curvature? Like, how do you express that curvature?
Oh, again, this is like an entire video's worth of mathematics to go through.
How do you measure it?
How would you measure it?
Yeah.
Do you want me to make a video on the maths of the
I've got a tool. It's called an auto level. It establishes a horizontal plane of reference.
Do you want to see my 2 auto levels?
You've got water levels, have you?
No, I've got 2 auto levels.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah.
And what do they establish a horizontal plane of reference?
They do. Yes, they do.
So how much does the water drop away from that horizontal?
By a measurable amount. In fact, if I bring up
measurable amount, brilliant.
Yes.
Let's have a go at trying to measure this then, right?
Hang on, let me bring up my video.
Your video?
Yes.
Where you show that the water level drops away from horizontal.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Let's see what he's got. Yeah, should be interesting.
Wow. You know, are you a flat earther?
No.
Ruhith?
Of course I'm not.
Well, because I've changed that because Babs is arguing exactly your argument and he calls himself a flat earther. He wants to debate me.
Copy. Hold on. Well, stick this in general chat, do I?
Yeah, if you want me to bring it up, you can share it yourself if you'd like. Okay. I'll open it.
With an auto level.
Let me share my screen.
How long does it go for, this?
Oh, just watch the first minute.
Okay. The only problem is we won't be able to hear that. You guys won't be able to hear the sound in the Discord, Ruhith. Because of the way my system is set up. So do we need to hear the sound?
No, it just shows it, and there's plenty of text on the screen. It's fine.
Okay. You guys should see it. Let me start it over because we were distracted. So here we're starting. Showing curvature with an auto level. Oh, yeah, it's playing. Sorry.
Seeing as we don't need.
Says no, the horizon isn't actually curved left to right like that. My iPhone wasn't square up against the eyepiece. Does the horizon rise to eye level? The angular distance between the crosshairs and the stadium mark is 5 millirads or 0.286 degrees. Can you describe somebody? Some may not be familiar with that. You're talking about this red distance between the what and the what?
Hang on, I've got to look at my video because your screen's a bit fucked up.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Oh,
you say this is an auto level, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So the distance, the angular distance between the horizontal line in the middle and the shorter horizontal line, where the red brace is 5 milliradians, which is equal to 0.
How do you measure that?
That's the definition of the specs of the auto level.
No, the auto level doesn't measure that. It just measures a horizontal.
Absolutely does.
It doesn't measure angles.
It absolutely does.
Not an auto level, mate. No.
Yes, it does. Yes.
No, I think you might be thinking of a theodolite.
This measures.
That's an auto. If it's an auto level, it doesn't measure an angle.
I guarantee you, that's what those marks are.
What marks?
Those shorter horizontal lines.
No, they're the stadia hairs, you muppet.
Yes. And what do they measure?
They measure an angular perspective compression. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. They give you a distance measurement through the angular change in size. Yeah. Do you know what you're talking about, Ruben?
Oh, I absolutely do.
How would they? What was that? How would they give you a distance measurement? They're normally at a ratio of 1 to 100.
Yes, 1 to 100. Very good. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that's what they're for.
Right. So if something's 100 meters away, how high is it?
Sorry?
If the thing you're looking at is 100 meters away, how high is it in the viewfinder? How high is it?
No, it establishes a horizontal.
No, go back. You said it establishes distance, right? If something is 100
No, I said
meters
the
away,
stadia hairs
yes,
show you a compression, right, of an image a distance away, but you need a measurement device in order to establish that.
this is the measurement device.
What is?
These stadia marks are 10 milliradians apart.
Ruhif,
you need a grade rod or a grade.
Let me ask a
you're
clarifying
making
question.
a fool out of yourself here, Ruhif.
Let me ask a clarifying
This is
question.
exactly what they are for. Yeah.
Let
No,
me
it's
ask a
not.
clarifying question. What are you
Absolutely.
measuring? You're measuring the between the stadia hairs. Are you measuring that antenna? Is that what you're doing?
The antenna, well, long story. Purely, this is just measuring the distance between horizontal and the horizon.
Where's the
but
horizon in this photo?
About 4.7 milliradians down.
You're talking about this, where this darker gray line
Yes.
and the white.
Yes,
That you're saying that's the horizon. How do you know that's the horizon?
Where the sky meets the water.
How far away is
Hold on. Let him answer my question. How do you know that's the horizon?
Because you can see ships behind it.
We have evidence and observations where we can see something in front of a ship that is a shorter distance than your model says that curvature should block it. We know there is a thing called what are they called? Mirages, inferior mirages, which block the distant objects. So I don't think you can say that is the actual horizon. You are claiming that that's the actual geometric horizon, correct?
Without an actual ship in this photo, I can't be 100% certain, but there are plenty of observations I have made with ships beyond the horizon, and I've measured those as well.
Well, we're talking about this observation here. You brought this up as your evidence, so you're not sure that's the horizon then, in other words, correct, Ruhuf?
This photo is literally the photo I took. I went to this flat earther's house and set up the auto level in his lounge room and took this photo. So this is the long story. This is from Harry Baird, who is a Sydney flat earther. And he does these observations relative to that tower in the foreground and looks at boats and shit. So this was literally just a photo I took from his lounge room. I've got stacks of photos of
why is it you don't know how stadia hair works?
But why? No,
I'm
hold on.
telling you that you don't know how they work.
So why are you bringing this up as evidence? What does this? Let's get to the punchline here. What does
because
this?
I don't have something to hand immediately that shows a boat behind the horizon with my auto level. I have to search for it. Right. This is a live chat.
No shit. But you told us to bring this video up, so I assumed that you had something in here to support your argument.
Yes, this is the horizon, right? And it's measurably consistent. Yes, it is measurably consistent with all the other measurements I take with boats beyond the horizon.
You're claiming it's a geometric horizon. It is an apparent horizon, just as all horizons are apparent horizons. And this is very foggy, I have to tell you. I mean, people make fun of Travis's photos for being a little foggy or out of sync, but this is, I don't know how you could possibly rely on this and say, yes, that's the actual horizon.
I'm sure I have better shots of the horizon.
Well, I'd like to see those.
This was a photo I took from this guy's lounge room, just setting up an auto level.
What does having the horizon just a little bit below the horizontal still parallel? What does that do? You're just showing two parallel horizontal lines.
So for everyone that says the horizon rises to eye level, it demonstrably does not.
That's not us. I've never said that.
And that doesn't change the ground.
For everyone.
You've still got two horizontal lines that are parallel to each other.
What was your elevation?
That would have been 60 something, 65, 66 something.
Meters?
Yeah.
That would be perfectly parallel then, wouldn't it?
What would be perfectly parallel?
Oh, then that crosshair would be, what, 60 meters above?
Yeah, it's not going to be parallel to the horizon. The horizon curves.
So that was my original question, and that's why we went off on this little hunt here, was because my question was, how do you know that the horizon curves?
Go and find the J. Tolan video, compress the horizon, it's curved.
No.
Well, you've got the evidence there in front of you.
So optical.
Measuring between the centre of the picture to the what would be the horizon, then each end, and see if there's any difference. Because
Yeah, this photo is not good for measuring left to right curvature, right? Because my iPhone's up there, it's got a
none of them
Parallel, though, right?
Hey, can I just jump in real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, Travis.
Go ahead, Aaron. No, go ahead, Aaron.
I just want to know why the main crosshairs, the horizontal, vertical, aren't in the center of frame. Like, there's some cropping going on, or
probably cropped it on PowerPoint or something.
okay, so this is not a full image.
I've probably cropped it to put it in PowerPoint.
Okay.
All right, so this is really weak. Go ahead, Travis.
Yeah, the thing that I was going to say is that we would have an interesting comparison with Critical Think's footage, because he's got the same setup, right? He's got the drop from horizontal, claims that the fact that they're not lined up, you've got Earth curve. So
yeah. I've been trying to get that footage for ages, by the way. In fact, hang on, let me...
Hold on, just real quick. So my point is that if Ruhif and Critical Think have a similar elevation, then their drop should match up as well.
Pretty much, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so that would be just...
But you're still only showing parallel lines. You're showing a horizontal with a horizon that's parallel, just a little bit below it.
Yeah, so
No
the horizon
curve
does
there.
not rise to eye level, right?
So
Brilliant.
what?
Okay.
How can it?
So what's
Levels can't
parallel
rise.
to horizontal?
on a plane, the horizon should rise to eye level.
No,
It should-
the level at your feet will stay level with the level of your eyes. They're parallel.
Yeah, what's
Let's
the
do a
elevation of
little-
this auto level?
This one here, I think, is about 66 meters or something.
You're strawmanning by saying it should do this on a flat Earth model.
And the horizon would rise.
Say again?
Who told you that?
Have you not heard flat earthers say the horizon rises to eye level?
I heard flat earthers say a lot of things, but I didn't believe them. Why did
Okay,
you?
but
Yeah.
so you're saying the flat earthers are wrong about that. Is that correct?
Absolutely,
I'm saying
it
people are
cannot
wrong about all kinds of
rise.
things. You're smart enough to know that that's not correct, right?
Well, the
Surely
question is,
you're
are you
not
guys?
gonna
Are you
teach
guys
us
smart
that.
enough to know that's not correct?
Yes,
Absolutely,
we are.
On a
yes.
full model,
Yes,
your
we
horizon
are.
should be dropping away more and more and more. As you rise up, you'd be
This is
looking down way.
You do look down.
No,
This shows that you
way
look
down. Like the further up you go, the more you would have to strain down, and that doesn't happen. We go up, and the
does
horizon comes up
Wolfie's
with
footage.
us. No, it doesn't.
No.
The horizon. Oh my God,
Wolfie
Ruhif, there's no
Wolfie
more
footage.
drop when you're
Ruhif,
up at
would you call
120,000 feet as there is when you take it from the ground.
There absolutely is.
Would
Wolfie
you call this
has.
a clear picture? Would you call this clear, like up to your
Oh,
quality
it's-
standard?
No, it's not a great picture. No, it's not
Oh,
very distinct, right? Like I said, it's a photo I took in this guy's lounge room when I just went to drop off my order level to him. All right. Anyway, Wolfie's footage. Wolfie has, gyro HUD in his plane, right? He can measure the angle down to the horizon.
No,
and it's
that's
like
complete
3.7
nonsense.
degrees.
Complete and absolute
What? It
nonsense.
doesn't mean anything. You've still got two
just said-
parallel straight lines.
Not straight. The horizon is not straight. Demonstrably not straight.
All right, I think
What?
we're going to move
That's
on. I
what
think
we
we
want
we
you to
beat
show
this to
us.
death about being able to measure curve, especially with these compression photos. It's absolute nonsense.
I can't believe he brought this up.
Right, can I just give you this as well, just before?
Can I read the stadium marks after that as well?
Yeah. Well, that's what we're going to talk about.
Oh, good. All right. Do you want me to read the stadium marks off
So
the
put
wiki?
it in the general chat there.
All right, I'm opening it. All right, I'm opening it. You guys still see my screen?
Hang on.
Kinda.
No, it's all shit, actually.
Chopped up, Brandon.
Yeah, it's
Let
kind
me
of
stop
weird.
streaming and stream again.
It is in the general chat, so everyone can look at it for themselves. See,
All right.
All right, should be better now.
yeah.
There.
Right now, you might need to zoom in on it and have a look. But in that picture, there is a horizontal crosshair and
Yep.
two stadia marks.
Yes.
Right. Now, you see the big horizontal, it goes all the way across. The other ones are the two shorter ones. I've just blanked my lad's face out a bit there. Now, you know how they use stadia hares? This was a picture taken at a very... Well, how far away is my son?
100 meters.
What?
100 meters. If that's 50 centimeters between 0 and 5, he's 100 meters away. Assuming the specs of your rod are level the same as mine. They're 1 to 100, are they?
Anyone else want to have a guess?
Oh, hang on, no, 2. 50 meters, sorry, 50 meters.
So about 20 feet.
Well, they're at a ratio of a 1 to 100. So what you do
the top
is
and the bottom.
You
so it's 50 meters,
take the top stadia hare and the bottom stadia hare, and you do a distance measurement mark in between them, because it's a known distance, right? The measurement stick is a known distance size, so it's measurable between those two stadia hares. The distance between those two stadia hares just happens to be at the bottom. It's marked right at 1 meter. So that makes it dead easy to make the measurement. It's just 50 centimeters, right?
Right, so he's 50 meters
in the
away?
top one. So that the measurement in between those two stadia hares is 50 centimeters. And the relationship within that thing is 1 to 100. So you times the 50 centimeters by 100, and you get an average distance that he is away. Yes.
And how far away is he?
So that goes to show that within the measurement of the optics of these instruments that people have had for quite a while, and they've been looking through them, everyone's seen them, these little hairs can actually measure distances, on average. How many times have you ever heard anybody tell you that before?
That's exactly what they're for, right? So they're 50 centimeters apart, right? You're measuring 50 centimeters between the stadium marks, correct?
No. They are a measurement distance. As my son moves away, the compression of the image will make more numbers fit into those stadia hairs. Then the calculation will then tell you how far away he is.
Yes, let's keep going. All right, so they're 50 centimeters apart between the top and the bottom, correct?
At that distance, 50 meters away. Yes.
50 meters, yes, so he's 50 meters away. All right. Now, tell me what the angular size is of something that is 50 meters away and is 50 centimeters tall. Tell me the angular size.
We don't need to know the angular size. No, we don't.
Yes, you do.
Because what we're doing with an auto level...
You know you're about to get fucking smashed.
No,
you're about to get smashed.
What we're doing with an auto level is establishing a horizontal.
Yep. And I told you these are an angular measurement of 10 milliradians.
What angle is there to the horizontal?
I'm telling you those stadia marks measure an angle. Do you believe me, yes or no?
They measure, look, you've just seen that you use it to measure a distance, but you need the measuring rod for them to be of any use at all. Yes.
Listen.
You have to know the distance of the thing in between them for them to be of any use.
These stadia marks are an angle. The stadia marks are an angle. They are 10 milliradians apart. That is what they are.
That distance changes however far away
and
my son moves with that measuring rod.
Changes. Right, but the
angle doesn't change.
Yes. Well done. We got there.
Yeah, they're a feature of the lens for a function of measuring a distance.
No, they measure an angle. It's only if you know the height at the end on the rod, then you know.
It's an auto level. Doesn't do angles.
And it measures. It does do angles. These two stadia marks
a horizontal.
are 10 milliradians apart.
It's a horizontal.
These two stadia marks measure an angle. That is what they are.
Again, we're already done with the surveyors. What angle are you measuring? What is the purpose of you measuring that angle? You've already established your horizontal.
Yeah,
that's
and
your
I can measure the
zero.
horizon relative to that.
parallel.
The
to
auto
it.
level measures between the stadium arcs and
No.
of 10
The
milliradians.
measuring rod measures that. The distance, the vertical distance is what
do
you
know
measure.
The relationship? Do you know the relationship between the size of something, its distance, and its angular size? It's a three-way relationship, right?
Listen, I just know how to use an auto level to establish a
Apparently
horizontal.
you don't know what the stadium arcs mean.
I've just shown you.
Stadium arcs measure 10 milliradians. That is how they work.
I've just shown you and everyone exactly how to use the stadia hairs.
I agree that's how they are used
an
against a
optical
measuring rod.
level. Yes.
Yeah, if you have, you've got a three-way equation here, right? You've got the angular size.
Why
you've
were
got
you
the
looking
size of
over
something,
the water with an auto level? What were you doing?
measuring the distance, the angular distance to the
Measuring what? You need look. You need a measuring rod in there to measure anything.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
Listen, we've got a three-way. We've got a three-way equation here.
Yellow.
We've got a three-way equation. We have the distance to something. We have the actual size.
You've got no distance
you've
to
got to
anything.
listen.
You're just
Listen.
pointing an
You've
auto
got
level
distance.
out at the water.
Listen.
Nobody
in your
does that.
example-
At least nobody that knows what they're doing does that.
I'd like him to
In your
explain
example,
how he
yes,
is getting the
thank you.
distance to what, and how are you calculating that distance?
Right. So in your example, you've got you don't actually know the distance yet, but you've got the actual size and the angular size, which is the 10 milliradians. That is what that 100-to-1 ratio means. Right. So you've got 2 parts out of 3 for your equation. That's how you can work out the distance. Right. In my example, I don't have an actual size or a distance. I just have the angular size because I have the 10 milliradians between the stadium arcs.
Angular size of what?
The angle between the horizontal and the horizon.
Is the horizon an actual thing?
Yes.
No, that horizon is not an actual horizon, Ruhif. We've gone over this.
Position.
That's
It's
a
an
shit
apparent
definition.
horizon, yes.
Ruhif.
It's
That's a shit
fine.
So if
We
I
can-
went there,
can talk
I
about
would
what we
find
mean.
the clouds touching the sea, would I?
Say again?
If I went to that point, would I find the clouds touching the sea?
No, there would be a drop of water that you would see, and that would be the next drop of water you would not see because
Drop?
it's behind the horizon.
So
A
it's
drop
not
of water.
a
hypothetical
real
drop of
position,
water.
then, is it? It's not.
Yes, it's a real position.
No, it
You are
isn't.
seeing actual water. Yes, it is.
No, it is not, because it isn't
You
there.
are
when you get
seeing.
there.
Oh.
You can't go there. You can't get there,
You
Ruhif.
can
You
go
can't
there.
like get in a
When
boat
you-
and go to the horizon.
Yes, you
no,
can.
you can't.
When you look at the horizon,
it moves. No,
listen,
you can't then
when-
just go
listen.
there.
Oh no,
When
none
you
of that
look at the
matters. Even
horizon-
if you can go to that spot where you
Listen.
see that apparent horizon,
Listen,
it doesn't
listen,
even
listen,
matter.
listen,
That is
listen,
not
listen,
a geometric
listen,
horizon.
My
You are
God,
measuring
Ruhif.
nothing.
Listen.
Stop talking.
You're measuring
Yeah,
nothing. But
because
go
you're
ahead,
not listening
Ruhif.
to me. Okay. When you look
No,
at
you're
the
the one
horizon,
not listening.
Hold on, let him
when you
speak.
look at
Go
the
ahead.
horizon, when you look at the horizon, you are looking at a drop of water in a place. All right, that place exists. You can visit that place. When you go to that place, your horizon might be different. It will be different, but that drop of water exists in a place. That is your horizon.
But you are asserting that that horizon that we see in that picture, that apparent horizon, is the geometric horizon.
If you're talking
And
about,
if we shot,
No.
let's say we shot a magic gun that went straight and didn't fall towards Earth, just an inch above, a hair above where you see that apparent horizon, your contention is that that bullet would keep going, past the Earth out into space, right? It wouldn't hit anything else. There's nothing behind that, above that apparent horizon.
correct,
But you
it
don't know
will
that.
skim the surface.
That is an incorrect assumption. You cannot make that assumption, especially not on this picture.
Sure, it's an assumption. Sure.
Yeah.
If you fire a bullet that we theoretically have, but you said, is that the geometric horizon? And are you sort of making the distinction like the Metabunk calculator makes, geometric versus apparent or refracted? Is that the distinction?
Don't use
You're
Metabunk.
measuring it.
I'm asking what your distinction is when you say geometric horizon.
We only have
Geometric
we only
horizons
have,
for the ball.
Okay, hold on, Leonard. We only have one horizon, Ruhif. There is
I
one
agree. It's a
horizon.
apparent horizon, one that we see.
Right. Okay, we don't have any other qualifications for horizons.
You don't, yeah. I think a radar has a
right.
different horizon to you.
It appears that you're saying that
nothing.
a hump
You're
of Earth
measuring-
curvature is blocking
Yeah.
what's
Imaginary
beyond.
edge.
Right.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Lemon.
I was just gonna say, it appears that you guys are implying that there's a geometric globe hump in the way that is refracting anywhere where you need it to go. The flat earthers appear to be saying that the hump isn't there. At best, you're having angular resolution over a flat plane with the top and bottom half of your vision merging into a line. So we need to see which
get
of
a
the side
poll?
has validity.
Can I get a poll of everyone in the chat at the moment as to who has actually applied the angular resolution formula for themselves to any observation?
Who cares? What does that have to do with this horizon issue?
Someone just use it as an excuse, right? And
No,
I guarantee
listen,
they've never used the formula.
Listen, your angular resolution calculator means shit when you're dealing with refraction.
Then don't use it as an excuse.
Okay.
If you think
thing
angular
is-
resolution is bullshit,
wait.
then
Hold
it's not
on,
an excuse for you.
Ruhif, do you know who you're talking to right now?
I do, and I probably
Okay,
shouldn't. Anyway,
Okay, so have I ever appealed to, right? I haven't. I'm addressing the fact that you brought it up. I don't
I didn't bring
remember
up
any-
angular resolution.
I did. Yeah, but you can't guarantee him for that long of a distance. Otherwise, the refraction becomes very apparent.
Well, no, I've just heard that with certain
Refraction
auto
and-
levels, people only go 100 yards. I mean,
Yeah, so
33
refraction is one
meters,
reason. What's
yeah.
the other reason?
Brilliant.
Refraction is one reason why you shouldn't use it over long distances. What's the other?
You
Well,
want to be
you
millimeter
need to
accurate,
be-
and you can only see a millimeter over that distance. So that'll be
Yeah,
why.
You don't need to be millimeter accurate. I
Yeah,
don't
you
need to be
do. If
millimeter
you're
accurate.
trying to establish your level, then yeah, you have to be a millimeter accurate. Like, what do you
I don't
think?
need to be millimeter accurate.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't. If I'm 60 meters above the water and I'm trying to measure the horizon,
No,
what difference does a
that's
millimeter
not what that. No, that's not what anyone with one of these tools would do normally.
make? Why not?
Because you can't be millimeter accurate on a horizontal
Yeah,
looking. I mean, you
don't
even
need
said it
millimeter
yourself.
accuracy.
It doesn't work.
I don't need millimeter accuracy.
I
I'm telling you
do.
why it doesn't work.
I do.
One reason.
I'm a pretty exact person when I'm trying to do anything, especially establishing a horizontal with a tool for establishing a horizontal. I want to be as accurate as possible. Wouldn't you agree? Isn't that the best way to do it? To be as accurate
One
as
reason.
possible.
One reason you shouldn't use them over long distances is refraction. Who can guess the other reason?
Earth curve.
Yay! Well done.
Sorry?
Because they're not
How
designed
about
to
you
be used
answer
over that
Bev's
long of a
question
distance.
Wouldn't be the lens of
instead of just ignoring it?
Did somebody?
We have a
Just Bev
surveyor.
ignored every
or,
question you've been asked.
Oh,
So
sorry,
we have a
can I just
surveyor
get
or
a confirmation there from Ruhif? Did you say they can't be used over long distances because of Earth curve?
If you're trying to establish level between two places,
Yeah.
Earth curvature will
Like
be a factor.
water
That's why
level.
they're not used over long distance.
Water level. So it is a measurable drop. The water level is a measurable drop from an auto level. Same word, that's strange. So you're saying there is a difference between the two?
Between what? I missed the question.
A water level and an auto level. Is there a
both,
difference?
yeah.
A measurable difference?
The auto level will be more accurate. The water level, depending on how big it is, will have like a fraction of a millimeter of a drop in it, so it's not going to be perfect.
It will drop. The water level will drop. It won't be equal
You're
at
talking about
either end.
Right, because the other end is a certain distance away, which will have a slightly, minuscule amount of drop in it, right? So
Well, I
the-
don't
the
know.
line
What do you
between
mean
those two-
minuscule? I thought it was meant to be equal. The water finds its own level, doesn't it? I mean, how can you say there's a
Locally, yes.
drop at one end?
Because it's further away from you.
What?
It's got
Which
a different-
end?
It's got a different down. The other end. They're all relative to each other.
Oh, right. So the drop of the water level depends on which end you're stood at.
Yeah, it'll point in a different direction.
You did say yes then, didn't you?
Yes. Local down, the water levels both work on down, right? So at one end, down is different to the down at the other end.
Do you think?
It's not going to be a perfectly level.
Are you saying that a water level won't establish an equilibrium between the water levels at each end of the water level?
No, it won't. It will not be perfect.
Okay. And it will be down at the... Is there like a distance measurement that can be measured at?
It's equivalent to the drop.
That
so
down?
Drop you think
the
you
drop
can
of
measure.
what?
The theoretical drop, the mathematical drop from the curvature. If you have a water
drop,
level...
drop from horizontal then?
At one end, yes. And then you go to the other end and it's reversed.
Oh, right. It'll drop. It'll drop back down again.
Infinite
drop. Infinite drop. Well done, Rupif. You've not studied this at all, have you? Is that so? Are you going with the Kozlowski nutsack drop?
I don't know what that is.
That's the drop of the water level away from the horizontal from the point that you're at.
Hey, Bev, it might be a good idea for you to bring that up and show him.
Okay.
If you are prepared to do so.
I think
let me just clean the board off.
He's missed all of this because he's been gone we haven't heard from him for a couple of months, so he's missed all this geometry stuff we've been doing.
Just
I've heard bits
of
of it, and that's, yeah.
And about 10 minutes ago, Ruhif, you said this is the bit where Bev's going to get fucked up badly or something like that. I'm still waiting for that moment. Is it coming?
The distance, the angular distance between the stadium arcs is 10 milliradians. They measure angles. We agree.
Wouldn't that change the further you went away?
No, the angular size doesn't change.
Wreck, Bev?
It does. The angle, of course, it changes. You can see it changes.
No, the angular size does not change. It's 10 milliradians. That's what they are. We went through this.
When my lad moves away,
yeah,
the more of it fits into it.
Yeah, and he's further away. So let's say he moves away to 60 meters.
Yeah, because
there'll be 60 centimeters, right?
Yeah, because the measuring rod's there. You can actually look at it. What angle are you measuring? The angle stays the same, but the distance measurement
the angle stays the same. Well done. Well done. We agree.
Yeah, but I can't understand how you think the distance. You can measure the distance without having a distance marker for you to measure.
Said that. I never said you can measure the distance without a size. I said we can measure the angle.
But the angle's always the same. It's within the fucking lens.
Right. So my measurement from
it's just lines on a lens, dude.
Yeah, and they measure an angle. Do you agree that they measure an angle?
No, they don't measure. Not in an auto level. You don't measure angles in auto levels.
How do you know that he's 50 meters away? How do you know he's 50 meters away?
He's got 50 centimeters in between the stadia hairs.
So what's the formula to do that?
It's not. It's already in the lens of the fucking auto level. It's inbuilt into it.
Yes, because that distance between the two stadium arcs is 10 milliradians. That is how you get the actual size or the distance.
I understand. You're doing fantasy maths here.
You've got nothing to reference it against to measure.
You don't need because you've got three elements in the formula: distance, actual size, and angular size.
Yeah, but you haven't got. You haven't got fuck all.
Wait a fucking minute. What distance are you measuring?
No, we've got three inputs into the formula, right? Distance, actual size.
Listen,
stop interrupting. Stop interrupting. All right? Stop interrupting. There are three elements to the formula for angular size. One of them is distance, one of them is actual size, and one of them is angular size. All right? If we want to work out the distance, we need the other two elements, right? We know its actual size because we can measure it on the rod, and we actually know its angular size because that's what the fucking stadium arcs are. They measure an angle.
I thought we were talking about the horizon here.
Yes, and I measured the angle to the horizon.
But the horizon is not a physical fucking thing.
Yes,
you can't measure angles with an auto level either.
Yes, you fucking can. We just went through that 10 seconds ago.
No, you just said it. We didn't go through it.
Then how are you working out the distance without an angular size? You've only got one input to the
just
formula.
look at the fucking measurement within the stadia hairs.
Yeah.
You
So
can't
what
do
does
it
that
without
mean?
the guy stood there.
What do you think the 100 to 1 means?
All right, hold on a minute. Don't answer that. I want to kind of shift this a little bit and ask Rodney. Rodney, you just made a statement that you don't measure angles with the auto level. What do you mean by that?
Well, by angles, I took it he meant he's measuring down to something that's not horizontal, unless I misunderstood what he meant by angles.
I measure the angle from eye level down to the horizon, and it's a predictable, measurable amount.
With an auto level?
See the picture that's on my screen in the YouTube thing, Rodney? This is a ridiculous argument that we should have put to bed 5 minutes ago because the picture is ridiculous.
How are you getting the distance if you don't have an angular size?
They measure it.
Yeah, how are you getting a distance without an angular size?
Ask the surveyor. They never pull the.
Because what that 100 to 1 ratio, what that means is that the distance between those two stadia marks is 10 milliradians. That's what it means. That's how they measure angles with an auto level.
You don't measure angles with an auto level. You just measure vertical heights, you pillock. You use the horizontal as a reference mark, and you measure a distance away from that horizontal. That's all you do.
How do you get the distance? The angular size formula has 3 components.
It's just an average, dude. It's not actually used for any measurement calculation. The stadia hairs, they're an average. Just that's it.
How are you working out the third unknown? So you're trying to work out distance, right? That's our unknown in the formula that has.
Pull a measure tape.
So you're taking a shot to someone holding a grade rod, I'm assuming, right? With your auto level?
Yeah. And it's showing 50 centimeters between the two stadia marks. We know that the angle between those two stadia marks is 10 milliradians. That's how we work out he's 50 meters away. Therefore, we can measure angles with an auto level because the angle between the two stadia marks is 10 milliradians. Do you agree we can measure an angle?
To the horizon, though.
I didn't. I just measured the angle. I don't need...
Without taking a shot to a grade rod?
No, I don't need...
Just pointed out at the horizon and...
The horizon does not rise to eye level.
We're not making that claim. Listen, when you have a horizon, that is created by refraction, and that refraction index can change, that means that the horizon will change. So you're not going to be able to... Okay, you're not going to get an accurate distance to the horizon that you think you're measuring. First of all, you're not measuring anything.
What do you mean I'm not measuring anything?
Okay.
No, Travis. Let's not go there, Travis, actually.
Yeah, I mean, based on the picture I'm seeing that Brandon's presented, you're not measuring anything with that, if that was your observation.
No, the whole thing was, who was the guy? Bev? Am I talking to Bev or Aaron or someone?
Yeah.
Bev?
Me, Bev.
Yeah. The question was, so you know you're measuring 50 centimeters at the rod, and from that you can work out a distance of 50 meters.
Am I muted?
The only thing is optical geometry is very questionable because parallel lines appear to converge, merge, and disappear due to perspective. So any angles and distances and derive off of them will become increasingly unreliable and increasingly questionable, especially
these
at
are perpendicular to you.
We're talking about over the flat plane.
Right, ready to go whenever.
Yeah, that's why we don't use an auto level to measure distance. We would just pull a chain or a tape. It's unreliable.
But that's why they are using optics to do their calculations, because they need what happens in the optics to get their Earth curve. They never actually measure any curve.
It's based off the assumption that the heating of sky and ground is caused by a hump of Earth curvature in the way, as opposed to angular resolution, where the top and bottom halves of vision merge and converge into a horizon line over a flat plane.
Bev, he has given me a distance that he's worked out, and I want to know, without the auto level being able to measure angles, how is he getting that distance?
We did actually wheel it out on the floor. We measured it.
Yeah, but you could have worked it out just from the stadia marks, right?
Yeah, we did. That's why I brought it
but
you
how are
to,
you doing
to
that?
show you how
How are you doing that if they can't measure angles?
It's just a distance. You look through it and you read the numbers. That's how you do it.
Yeah, and then what do you do with that 50 centimeters? What do you do with it?
Times it by 100. Like, did you not hear that the ratio is 1 to 100?
Yes. Why do you times it by 100?
Because that's what they've done. They've put them lines in every scope. Every scope.
What do they mean?
They're there so you can do an average distance calculation very quickly.
Right, because the distance between them is 10 milliradians. That's why you can do it. Because they measure angles.
They're in the lens.
Let's move on from this milliradians discussion because I feel like we're just it's not even worth.
Well, radians are a form of angle measurement. Basically, a radian is an equilateral pi angle where the radius, the two sides of the pi slice of the circle, are equal to the arc curved side of the circle. So a milliradian is just a thousandth of that.
Yeah, a radian is just a radius distance around the outside.
10 milliradians is a hundredth of it, right? That's where the 100 to 1 ratio comes
we don't
from.
need
That's
to.
what it means.
No. They're just
Go ahead,
the distance.
Bev. You're going to show us the nutsack drop model or whatever. Are you ready?
Ruhif, are you ready for this? This is your time to shine.
Am. All right, give me 10 minutes and then I'll go and do some work.
Okay. What? Give you 10 minutes before, or you're going to give us 10 minutes? It won't take that long. See, this guy here has got a water level. You do know what a water.
Sorry.
What?
Hang on. I didn't know you were presenting.
Yeah. Video camera.
How do I make you big? Hang on.
You'll never make me big, mate.
There we go. There you go. Yep, I can see.
Okay. You know what a water level is, right? Yes. I know you know what an auto level is. Do you know what a water level is?
Yes. Big long tube full of water. Yes.
Okay. Right. Got one here. This is a water level, and this is the other end of it over here. You can see both of them, right?
Yep.
Okay, so now this guy's got a water level. He's got one end of it here. This distance, 32 inches to 1 mile. Yeah, horizontal scale. So we're going to imagine from here to here's a mile. This is 32 inches. Vertical scale, we'll go 1 to 1, right? Actual
scale. Do you want to just answer your question? This water level will not be accurate over a mile.
I'm just going to lay it out for you, right? This blue line here is auto level, right? He's established a horizontal all the way across. DP there, boof, all the way. So this blue line is a horizontal, right?
Yep.
Now, he's got a water level at one end here. Where's it going to be over here?
Lower. It will not be an accurate. If you line them up,
we're working on a 1 to 1 vertical scale, right? So how far? 1 to 1 over a mile.
I assume 8 inches, right?
8 inches. Okay, so we'll get a thing. We've got 8 inches. 1 to 1 scale. 8 inches down here. There. Right. So this water level, you reckon? I can put the bottom end of it down here like this, and we'll have this water level here being 8 inches below that one. Yep. Presuming that's up there, right?
Yes.
So the water level will not be accurate. We can connect this to this. Yeah?
Yep.
Now, DP's going to go for a little walk. He's going to come down here. What happens to that end?
That'll be 8 inches below where he is now.
So that'll be down here now?
Yep.
Okay. Now,
well,
right.
No, you just rotate your drawing.
Like that?
Just rotate your drawing left a bit.
Like that, though?
Well, just flip your drawing.
He walked over here, and when he got here, then this end of the water level is now down here. But I don't think he moved that one.
Yeah, that's why I said rotate your drawing.
Rotate? It's horizontal.
Yeah, rotate your drawing.
No, they're horizontal.
If your guy on the right, if you take a shot. In fact, this is what I do in my video.
If
the one we looked at before.
This guy has a horizontal though across here, that'd be like it'd be parallel to this horizontal, wouldn't it?
No, it won't.
It would, because he'd be going back to
No.
the same spot.
No, if he takes another shot from the right, it will go over that blue line.
It'll go up.
The horizontal
A
is
horizontal
local.
from here will go in that direction.
This is literally what I did in the video that we're looking at.
You literally did this with horizontals.
Yes. This is what the video does. It's the showing curvature with auto levels.
Right,
is a
yeah.
video that
Well, see
does
this?
reciprocal shots.
This level here would be level this way. And then when you got
Relative to
here,
going
it'd be
left.
level here. This doesn't go up here.
So what happens if you've got
Relative-
two guys at once?
Then they
Oh.
they shoot over each other.
That's a good point. What, they shoot over each other?
Yes.
So
If you're at the same
horizontals...
elevation, if you're at the same elevation as another guy a few kilometers away, you will shoot over each other.
But this
That's
horizontal
the
was already
demonstration
set.
of curvature.
Dude, this
Relative
horizontal
to that
was
Away
set
From the other, they'll go over it.
Relative
from
to
your
that guy at the
start
left,
point.
that is your horizontal, yes. Horizontal changes if you move. They're not going to be parallel to each other.
doesn't.
That's the whole. That's
It's
the whole
always
demonstration of
parallel with the
curvature.
horizon. Always.
No, that's the
Even
definition
when
for
you
horizontal.
move. Every new
No, it's
position
the
you
definition,
take.
even though that is the definition. Oh man, Rubiv, you're getting desperate,
Well-
mate.
I did in the
Desperate.
video.
Well, the
This is what I
problem
did in the
with
video.
this
Make shots from one point, go across to where I shot to, and then make the shot back. That's what I did.
Imaginometry at its worst.
Imaginometry. The problem is,
what
Rudy,
was
need
the
a straight
distance that you
standard.
shot?
Say again?
There's a new geometry now. It's imaginometry.
No, I literally did this in reality. I did this.
You didn't do this
No,
in
you
reality,
didn't,
mate.
No, you did not.
You
Then
didn't
watch
get
the video.
water
No,
level
no.
to drop
And you
8
went-
inches over a mile. That didn't happen.
I think it was over. I think it was over 5Ks. I think.
How much
But
do you
I
think
made-
you
I
imagined
made
you
an
got the
auto level.
water to drop?
No, this is with an auto level.
What, you got the auto level to drop?
The theodolite.
This is with an
Ruby,
auto
you
An
took a
level.
single
optical
shot over
drop
5
and has said
kilometers.
that that's what's happening to the ground because he saw an optical drop.
So, Brandon.
And you're
Wait a minute,
assuming that the theodolite or whatever the hell you're using is bringing you an accurate scene of the shape and of the Earth when it could be
funny you should
refracting and
ask.
adding fake curvature. So you may need to look into theodolite optics and
Can I,
mechanics and
uh,
see if it's really giving you an accurate picture.
Can we ask
Well, you guys
Rodney?
can
Because I think
disrupt
Rodney's
instruments all
trying
you
to
want.
talk
Yeah,
here.
let Rodney go.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was just trying to ask what was the distance he took on this shot each way.
I think it was 5Ks. If you watch the video, this is what I do. I actually take a shot from one location, then go over to where I shot to and shoot back.
With an auto
That's
level.
curvature. With an auto level.
Over 5K.
Yes.
And
What-
that's not
Don't you
that's
say
not
like
even
that?
close to accurate.
It matched predictions, so.
Predictions.
Of course it does,
you
because you do
can't-
everything optically. They've backwards
when you
engineered
guys
it
start
so
making
that
predictions-
your optical. So you will not let one single person finish a sentence before you
I
start
apologize.
talking over them.
Yeah, even using the auto level at 1 mile is really, really pushing it. You'd have to have some really good conditions on that day to get anything accurate at 1 mile. So if
Doesn't
you're
water
taking
get more accurate with distance? Like,
And this is
rather
over
than
3
optical,
miles,
water
so
actually gets
it's
like a
it's
water
less-
level is more.
so you're really pushing the accuracy of the instrument, Ruhif, and you may be getting a fake visual of the scene.
The instrument measures angles regardless of how far it is away.
Doesn't measure angles
How
even.
did
It does
you
measure
how
angles.
did you
We
measure
just
the
did
angle?
this, Bev. We just went through this.
I didn't hear that. Could you tell me how you got the distance? Can you just walk me through your process?
Me or Bev?
Yeah. No, you. You said you did it.
Sorry, measure the distance. Oh, just on
Yeah,
Google
you
Earth.
said you took a shot from each side and you worked out the distance. How did you do that?
No, I didn't work out the distance. I just measured on Google Earth.
Oh, okay. So what were you actually shooting to then? So on your first shot that you took, what were you shooting at? What were you looking at?
I just shot horizontally, and then I went to the place that I shot to, and then shot back.
Shot what
Reciprocal shots.
horizontally?
The water level.
So you just
Where
pointed
is
it in
this
a random
described at?
direction and-
This is in my video, which we posted in general about half an hour ago.
The video that we were looking at with the
Yes.
fuzzy horizon photo.
Oh, I missed
It's
that. So was
called-
it So was it actually aimed at something? Did you try to focus in on?
Oh no, I just aimed it at a freaking car. Like there's a bit of an error in there where I shoot at the tire of a car, and then when I get across there, the car's moved. So I've had to make sure that I'm in the right spot.
Wow.
So I can redo it.
So you didn't have someone on the other side with a grade rod that you were trying to get an accurate reading to?
No, you can't see that.
Using an auto level without a grade rod is pointless.
Shooting at a car's tire from 5 kilometers, you are lunatic.
Anyway, watch the video. I'm going to go. It's been fun.
These guys are
all right, thanks, Ruhif. Appreciate you stopping in, man.
Cheers. All right, take care.
Yeah. See ya.
Wow.
All right. So what this all boiled down to at the end is the confluence or the confusion between perspective, how we see the world, and their ball model, which they see as curvature. So they take perspective and they apply mathematics to it and call it curvature, when really that's just how we see its perspective. We've gone over that on this channel. We can go over it again, but that's why they think when their line, this image that I'm showing on my screen here, that's why they think when they shoot their line and it is higher on the object that they're shooting at, that it has dropped away. It has not dropped away. That is how we see.
Exactly.
And can I point out that Rodney practices surveying daily? That's his job.
And Ruhif doesn't.
Yeah, Ruhif just does stuff that you shouldn't.
They're doing their job wrong.
Yeah, I wish he hadn't left so quick. I had some questions.
No, he was definitely not going to stay very much longer when he says he shoots a theodolite at a car tire. He says that when he gets over there, he resets, the car's not there, and then resets up and shoots back.
Rodney, what was your take on that? What was your take on what he was saying?
What he did was just a complete waste of time. It's not even worth looking at. For one thing, he's trying to shoot.
Even feasible to do that at 5 kilometers at a car tire?
Even if he'd had someone on the other side of the water with a grade rod at that distance, it's not going to work.
Exactly. Complete and utter nonsense.
We're talking about 500 feet on days you can get very accurate. When you go above that, it starts getting inaccurate. 5 miles or 1 mile? No way. No way for accuracy. Sorry.
And this stuff is allowed to pass because people are expecting. Well, people are expecting to see Earth curve, so they're letting this stuff that really doesn't, count, be acceptable because it's saying, oh, we see a drop in the theodolite, so it has to be Earth curve. But there's a lot of optics and stuff with these theodolites that we need to consider as well.
That's the first time I've ever heard somebody say they're using an auto level. That is definitely.
Right, we're getting the background noise from you again. I muted you, but we're getting.
Bev, this is something that you can prove. I mean, you already know, but this is a test that, it's a pain in the butt. But if you set up a water level 1 mile apart, you put two distinct marks on a story pole at 1 mile. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
At 1 mile apart, you put two distinct marks, and then you get an auto level, and you look through it on one day, and you shoot the other mark, and you can adjust your crosshairs where it lines up on that mark. You can come back 10 days later and do the same thing. It's going to be off again.
Yeah.
Come back 10 days later, 10 days, it's off again. You'd have to readjust because the atmosphere affects, the distance. The water level doesn't move, but the accuracy of the auto level does.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah. Okay. What do you do? Washing dishes or doing something?
You update Discord, it puts you back to not push to talk, the voice sensitivity. So I had updated Discord and I was just cruising to Walmart. And once you guys started talking, I was pulling trying to get a shopping cart out. It was just chaos.
Oh, okay. No problem. Hey, guys, which of these tactics do you think they used tonight? The tactics that we went over last night in that interaction with Ruhif on either side?
He's used quite a few, but can I just emphasize the point here that all of the other people of everybody else has always tried to use theodolites to say that they're more accurate, because an auto level is a plane surveying tool. It's definitely a plane surveying, like there's no other use for it. You can't measure angles with it. It doesn't do that. It just establishes a horizontal, right? So for Ruhif to attempt to do what the obfuscation that George and Jesse and, you know, whoever of these other conveyors that we're done with, whatever they do, Ruhif tried it with an auto level, so that just goes to show he's trying to play, he's trying to do the wizard magic tricks, but he doesn't actually understand what he's doing at a very serious level. I mean, that was shocking.
Well, some of it is affirming the consequence, because we assume that these auto levels and these visual instruments are just showing us the Earth as it is, but they're curving optics that are distorting, so it may be a bit of affirming the consequence.
An auto level used at a correct range doesn't have any effect like that. It's set up to not have any discrepancy. Millimeter accurate. It is millimeter accurate.
But the scene from the lens that he's showing appears to be off.
He's doing something you shouldn't do with that tool. Anybody who knows about that tool knows that you shouldn't do that. But
you're not supposed to use it outside of its optimum range. Another thing too. So some of it's technical issues.
Not just beyond its range, but way beyond its range. Magnitudes.
Yeah, and guys, he's baking in standard refraction and all kinds of other shit. He's using the horizon that's not a horizon, you know, it's an apparent horizon. Who knows what that actual frickin' horizon is in this picture? Look at how foggy this is. To even come in, you can't even see blue. To come in here and actually seriously say that you're measuring anything off that horizon is a joke. It's a complete waste.
And the philosophy that they're using to interpret the meeting of sky and ground as a physical hump of Earth curve, refraction or not, is questionable. Because with angular resolution, you can have light reaching your eye that is uninterpreted because it's way too smushed, way too sandwiched, and way too converged, say at the level of the eyes. And so the theory of optics that they're using to interpret this and apply their model of refraction is questionable as well, if it doesn't count angular resolution.
You can't do any measurement or an angle to the horizon, because anybody who's got a P900, P1000 knows you look at it, it'll change. It moves. It's all over the place. There's some weird stuff happens at the horizon. You can trust the horizontal though, once you establish it with a tool.
Not without verifying it with a laser to see if, you know, a straight traveling, you know, EMF wave or a laser is hitting a target or hitting an obstruction of some sort.
Water levels have been horizontal way before lasers, Lemon. Way before.
Yeah. But that's baked into their philosophy too, because they're saying that gravity is just pulling it to this ball and conforming it to the shape of this ball.
If it's horizontal, it can't.
Over what we see.
There's no curvature in a horizontal, Lemon.
Yeah, but that came later.
What?
Because at first was horizontal, yeah. But then when the ball came around, they reshaped their minds around that ball.
Yeah. There's no ball.
How do they calibrate laser equipment?
Calibrating laser equipment?
With a water level.
And also, you wouldn't have water flow if gravity was pulling, because gravity would pull down and stop the flow. Flow appears to be a lateral thing where the water is climbing up and or over, under and over itself. So it wouldn't be doing that if it was pulled down by gravity. It would be kind of inimical to flow if gravity was doing what they said it was, you know, doing. So we have a couple philosophy problems here. Some
It's
serious
not philosophy, is it, to say that water flows downhill until it reaches its level? That level being horizontal. There's nothing else for it to be. Water can't support itself, so it can't hump in the middle. There's only one thing for it to be. Logically, horizontal. Nobody's ever shown curve. They've not even shown that it can be curved. Like Ruhif just did tonight. He stated there was a drop away from horizontal, but then he said horizontal rised up, which doesn't make any sense, but he said it.
By my calculations, he should have gotten 1 or 2 meters a drop over 5 kilometers. How much drop did he say he had?
How did you see the car tire then?
It's the curve of the lens, I think, not the land itself, but...
But still, if he claims there's that much drop, how did he see a car tire?
Rumpus. It's a floaty car tire like Rumpus's floaty lighthouse.
Oh yeah, the lighthouse in the air. Yeah.
Yeah, their shit just floats in the air when they need it to.
All right, let's let me introduce some people who have joined the Discord that I haven't called out yet, just so people know who's in here. We got Bandsaw Bandit that joined. What's up, Bandsaw? We got Chad. What's up, Chad?
What's happening?
What's up, 50? I don't think I've seen you here before, 50. Is this your first time in the Discord or a different name?
Yeah, we sent him over.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's unorthodox, so you might know him as unorthodox.
Oh, I think I've heard unorthodox on I've talked to him a couple times, and on Nathan Oakley's channel. And then let's see who else joined us. We've got SM Storm 11 who is sitting in and is pretty much brand new to the subject. What's up?
Yo, bro.
And is actually my real life brother.
Nice.
The one that was here last Friday when I was doing the show. So let me ask you, since you're completely new to this whole arena, Stephen, what is your thoughts on that argument? Did you take any of that in? Did you take anything away from that?
Auto levels are only good up to 100 meters.
Steve? You there, Steve?
Yeah. You hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I did find it quite interesting that, this is all, like you said, very new to me. But I like that gentleman that just spoke said about the level. That's I don't know. There's just a lot to it for me to argue any of it. I guess I don't know. I have to really sit here and listen and take in a lot to have an argument for you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure. Yeah. No problem. You don't have to bring an argument. By the way, you can listen. I listened for a long time before I ever started arguing with him. You don't ever have to argue with anybody, actually. But you work in the construction trade with levels and all that stuff, right? As a builder.
Yes.
In your experience, is level horizontal, or is that some point during your work where you have to take into account the curvature of the earth or anything like that? Have you ever heard of anybody doing that even?
Levels horizontal.
Yeah, that's my experience too. Okay, cool, man. Good to have you here.
Sorry, we never heard what he said.
Oh yeah, your mic. There's a little bit of background noise, Steve, but he said levels horizontal.
SM Storm, that's bad, man.
So we'll allow it. We'll allow some background noise if he says that. It's okay.
Yeah, he's. Anyway,
it's SM Storm. Open
SM
mic,
Storm.
dude.
Yeah, your mic is a little bit of noise coming through, Steve. There you go.
Cheers.
Bro, you can't level a curved surface. That's like the entire. It's not something you can do. Because what point? What are you leveling? What are you doing? You're drawing a circle. Is that what you're doing?
And they kind of borrow from a straight line anyway, because they say it's a tangent to the ball that's straight locally, where it contacts the circle that gives you your local level. So they're still borrowing from a straight level anyway.
If it's an even altitude, it can't be a tangent. So geometrically, that doesn't work. Just doesn't make any sense to call it a tangent unless you've got an illusion of a ball somewhere.
Well, tangents don't even exist in reality because it's a theoretical line that hits a circle at a theoretical point. Points, according to Euclid, is that which has no parts. There's nothing that doesn't have parts in reality. So it's going to have thickness. It's going to be a zone where it's probably going to be, a zone with thickness, not a point. So even that part of the philosophy is, flawed as well.
What they're saying, what they're saying is that a horizontal is a tangent just by the fact that it's a horizontal. I say that's ridiculous because you need a circle. Just to conjure up the word tangent, it says circle. But there is no circle because everyone knows that the water level establishing horizontal doesn't give a shit about what's underneath it. Doesn't care about the shape underneath it. It will establish a horizontal no matter what. So it's a ridiculous idea to call it a tangent.
Well, it goes against sense and reason too, because the horizon appears to rise toward the level of the eyes. You don't look in one direction and see, the horizon, and then see that, line of whatever the hell they call tangent or whatever go off into space. That's against sense, rhyme, and reason. We don't have to look down more in the other direction, to keep that tangent line that's going off into space to look down at the Earth.
We don't look down at all. We look horizontal.
I see railway lines converging. We know they don't.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
it can't
just
really
an
be,
optical effect.
and it can't really be separated from perspective because these people were talking about this ball before they knew about optics, foreshortening.
It can be changed from perspective. Perspective is what you see, right? A water level is actual. It doesn't change by where you're looking at it from. The water level is a practical thing in reality. Perspective doesn't come into it at all, ever.
So does it work round corners, Bev?
Yes.
So it doesn't have to be in line with each other. It could be round a zigzag and it'll still give you a perfect level.
Yeah, that's the beauty of a water level.
Well, the debate is over.
We just got to move on to the nitty gritty, the star trails, and whatever the hell else they're talking about.
We don't live in the sky, do we? We live down here on Earth.
Leave that to the
But how can
astronomers.
I have these star trails unless I'm on a spinning ball? Like, I don't know, a Faraday effect, perspective, curved glass mirror, firmament, refocusing the light. Who knows?
Just tell them to go and experiment for themselves and find out. Come back and tell us. If they're so desperate to know why it's happening, well, you go out and create an experiment and find out.
The problem is observation will always be confirmation biased, right? So we both see the boat. Somebody thinks it's perspective. They'll say, oh, look, see how that proves the boat is disappearing because of perspective. If a baller sees it, their confirmation bias will be like, no. Same thing, but it proves the Earth is a curved ball. And this is, this is really the fundamental thing that it all comes down to is what is your bias towards? And then you will apply your beliefs and thought process to make whatever you see fit that.
So true. And I'm biased toward the flat Earth now, but that's why we have the Globers in this side of the discussion to bounce, the suggestions off of each other. But I'm just not seeing the globe. I'm not seeing.
It looks like they've sent the big guns in. Rumpus is here.
Hey, Rumpus.
He's self-muted and self-deafened, so who knows if he'll join us. Maybe he's waiting for us to get something else.
He's got a red mic on me. It looks like he's server muted.
Oh, yeah. Let me untake him off server mute.
Can we do parallel? If he undeafens, I want to do the parallel line thing. That I don't think he got it the other day.
Yeah. Have a parallel line under one.
Before we go on to that last conversation with Ruhif, this is the sheet. I brought this up a minute ago, but this is the sheet we looked at yesterday with the 25 rules of disinformation. And I think right the hand you said that you thought Ruhif used playing dumb during that.
I don't think you're not sharing,
bringing
Brandon.
Evidence that's like, the one about bringing evidence that doesn't matter or something. Their own thing.
Oh, yeah, I should be sharing now.
Yeah.
You're talking about associate. Let me see. Which one was that? That was change the subject. Ignore proof presented.
There you go. That's
No, it was something about them bringing evidence. There was one about something about they'll bring evidence.
Oh, false evidence. Whenever
Yeah.
possible, introduce new facts or
That's
clues.
the one. That's the one.
Manufacture a new truth. That was
New
a good
fact. Straight is curved. New fact, everybody.
Auto levels measure angles.
one. Yeah, auto levels measure angles. That was the manufacturing a new truth, definitely.
Yeah, he literally.
The only way
did
I
that.
know to measure an angle is like a protractor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can somebody name something else? Maybe a one of those like compasses that you spin on the. Even that, I don't think can really do it.
It's just a device for measuring the angular distance
a
between
square?
two straight lines, right? The inclination between two straight lines.
Got to be two straight lines.
Yeah.
So which other ones? And then we'll move on. I don't think he does this very much. Emotionalize, antagonize, and goad opponents. I don't think that's too much of Ruhif's game.
He did ignore
more of a
proof
Rumpus.
presented. He didn't take much like evidence of the obvious facts.
Yeah,
or
when Bev was showing the water level like under the other level, yet there's still the same. Come on, you're just ignoring that. The water would come flowing out of the top of it, right? You're just ignoring basics.
Imaginometry.
Oh my God, you're stupid. Jesus Christ.
oh, that's nice entrance,
You're gonna
Rumpus.
get
Well
muted
done.
really quick, Rumpus. Do you have something of substance to say?
Yeah, you don't understand that an auto level measures angle. The fact
Oh,
that Rodney,
come
who
on,
claims to be a
Rumpus.
surveyor, doesn't understand what you're
Rumpus.
measuring as an
You
angular
said it
side.
twice.
Be
Say it
quiet.
one more time.
Be quiet, Bev. Be
Say
quiet.
it one
You
more
want-
time.
Bye.
Right, so I'll tell you what an auto level does. It measures between the stadia 10 milliradians.
No.
So anything in between.
Did you tell? Have you told Ruhif this, Rumpus?
Be quiet.
No,
So
please,
anything
go
you put
away.
in there will be multiplied by 100.
Brandon.
Because what that because if
Brandon.
you knew the formulas, if you knew the
Brandon.
formulas for the length of the arc and the
Brandon.
distance
The
and
length of the arc. What are you
if
talking
the
about?
angle is 10 milliradians,
Why are we even entertaining
multiplied
this?
Let him
distance
talk. Let him
Brandon.
talk.
that you're looking at by 100.
Brandon.
Now the fact that
Brandon.
Rodney doesn't understand
Brandon.
measuring an angle.
All right, that was
Brandon.
three. That was three. I don't understand.
Rob is killing me, bro.
Oh, dear. Jose kicked him out today as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to get the third one out of him.
What?
Okay.
Jose kicked him out.
Yeah, not today, sorry, yesterday.
Yeah.
Wow, he must have really done something
you
full
can't-
on.
He says this is their basic argument, right? Like an auto level, okay, it's a telescope, right? It's a pair of binoculars, and it's got a spirit level on it. Let's not overcomplicate
No, it's
the
got
device
it's got a fancy piece of equipment to make it horizontal through the crosshairs, right? That's it.
He's looking. Yeah. Well, where's your angle measurement? Looking? What are you using as like? He's gonna be like, oh well, I'm looking, so therefore it's 90 degrees. I'm looking at a 90 degrees, right? That's what he's gonna say. Oh, it's horizontal, so I'm looking 90.
Yeah.
Like just
Well, the thing is, radians are another way to measure angles with an equilateral pi angle, and so it's roughly 57.
Yeah, you don't do that with an auto level. You just get a theodolite. Come on, a theodolite measures angles on the vertical, right? An auto level just doesn't. You use a different tool for doing that. Anyone that says that you use an auto level for measuring angles is a retard, or they're actually pushing a narrative that wants to make you think that you can actually measure angles, right? That's not on us, right? We're just informing you that Rumpus is lying to you, obviously, plainly.
So Ruhif measured the angle with a theodolite that he leveled with an auto level or something like that?
No, he said he measured an angle with an auto level.
Did the
Ruhif
auto
doesn't
level
know
have
what
a
he's
theodolite
talking
lens
about.
in it or something? Did the auto level have a theodolite lens in it for sighting or anything like that?
A theodolite lens? What are you talking about, Lemon?
Yeah.
Do you not know what you're
Does it
talking
have
about
something
either?
that you can look through and get some sort of
They
angle, some sort of
They
theodolite,
both
some
have
sort of
something
lens?
you look through both of them. It's just one, the auto level, you use a literal spirit level so you know when it's looking 180, and the theodolite just spins, but it's doing the same thing. It just registers its spin.
No, a theodolite.
To the horizontal.
No, a theodolite has a movable on the vertical axis, and it measures
Yeah, the spin.
angle. No. An auto level will spin round
moves
as
up and
well.
down.
Yeah, it goes up and down. The theodolite. It's a different tool.
The up and down.
Actually measures that
theodolite
angle.
has one that goes up and there's two movements on the theodolite.
Yes.
You can spin it and you can move it up and down.
Yes,
you
an
can-
auto
you can
level-
change- but also it has to know. Yeah, it has to know where its horizontal and vertical are, so that you have your standard, and then it changes from there.
Yeah.
Right. It's still based on a horizontal.
Yeah, they're both based on a horizontal, but one of them does not measure angles. And that is the auto level that Ruhif stated beyond once, twice, 3, 4
And
times that he used an auto level for measuring angles. You just simply don't.
Yeah, they were completely wrong about that one.
What are the lines for on the, on the reticle that you call the stadio? What are those lines for?
The stadia is
Explain
for-
it. Go on, you go, Rodney.
Oh, I was just going to say, if you want to calculate the distance to a shot you're taking, so say you're taking a shot, there's going to be two stadia here that we look at, the top and the bottom. And let's say your top pair was on 1.5 meters, your bottom was on 1 meter, just to make it easy. You would just split the difference between the two and then convert that to centimeters, or whatever your measurement is, and multiply it by 100. Or if the scale is different, you'd multiply it by whatever the scale is. So that'll just give you a rough distance to the object that you're, whatever you're shooting at. It doesn't measure angles, like they said.
You cannot measure a vertical angle with an auto level. You can measure horizontal angle to get a inaccurate measurement of distance, but you need a theodolite to measure angle.
Yeah, fair.
Even like I would even debate, right? Like how, because when you set the theodolite, you're still looking through it, right? And when you look through it, granted it's where the crosshairs are your angle, right? But even then, the further the distance, the more deviation in your angle can change drastically, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're trying to look at something and make a point, if it's a millimeter off in your theodolite, but that millimeter equals 100 feet at 2 miles, that's going to be a huge difference in your angle. So yeah, these tools are not good for optics very, past, 500 feet maybe? You start getting some you can't really see.
Well, that was the first thing I did when we got the auto level. We took it out on the thing, and you look through it, right? There's no zoom, so there's only one optics. You just look through it, and you go, right, go on, go back a bit more. Let's have a look. Oh, yeah, I can see. Go on, keep going. And you actually look through it, and you will see there becomes a distance where you go, well, yeah, I can't really see accurately enough there. So, that's my limit. That's my personal limit. That's should be the first thing you do whenever you get one of these tools. You don't get it, go to the beach and look out across the water. That literally isn't how you use these tools. So anyone that comes to say that you use it for something that it's not meant for, then I don't know. It's up to you who you believe.
Well, you
I'm sure
wouldn't
you could
take the
daisy-
advice if they were saying to use a P900 as an auto level, would you? Like if they swapped it around, you would. Nobody would do that. So why are they using an auto level for optical things?
Well, because that's how they make their curve measurements, right? You can't measure curvature on a horizontal plane.
Right.
So what do? You have to measure the curvature as an optical effect.
Yeah, calculated in.
Yeah, you would never use an auto level just by itself either. You would always use a grade rod along with it because that's the whole point. That's what it's used for. Using it by itself is just really pointless.
Yeah, measuring a vertical distance from the horizontal that you establish with the tool.
Unless your name's Ruhif and you're trying to show Earth curve.
Yeah, that was as bad as the pendulum, right? You can picture you're a carpenter and all you have is a plumb bob and they drop you off somewhere in the world and you just swing this thing in front of you and you're like, oh, I'm in France. Like it's just out of this world.
Hey, have you guys seen the Chinese footage? Evidently, they just or they're telling people that they landed a little rover on the moon or whatever, and they're going to collect rocks and.
Oh yeah, they're bringing him back, aren't they?
That's what they say. Yeah. Have you guys seen this footage yet? I thought we might take a look at this.
No, I've not actually seen the footage yet. Go on.
Yeah, I saw it. I posted a link to it. It's
did you? Did you get the latest stuff from today? I'm looking for my link right now.
Oh, can I just
Changi 5?
Can I just say before we get off this? Before we get off this subject,
Go ahead.
I don't know if anybody knows, but Babs, Space Pope, has offered to debate me on level being horizontal tomorrow at Jose's or on Jose's channel. And he says he's taking the flat earth position that level is not horizontal. So I don't know. I thought I may as well just let you know that there's going to be somebody out there defending, well, I suppose, thinking that he's taking the flat earth position that level isn't horizontal. I don't know what's going on myself. But I've said,
would it be?
I don't know. I haven't got a clue, so I'm intrigued. He thinks he's got a gotcha on me, and I don't know. I just thought I'd like to let you guys know that, like, in case you want to sort of, I don't know, say that you know, voice your opinions on level and what you think it is before I go into this debate tomorrow. He calls it a debate. I don't think anybody knows what a debate is anymore.
I don't even see how they make that claim. Like, especially ones who, like Ruhif, who've used an auto level, because an auto level, the whole purpose is to establish a horizontal line, and you do that using the bubble level, the spirit level that's on the stand. I mean, you have to make sure it's level before you can make sure, you know, to get your horizontal. So I don't know how they can even use that instrument and then make the argument that they're not the same thing.
I think that they think that the water level is different than an optical. It's like they've had water levels for years, and then all of a sudden there's well, let's make a tool, an optical device that's like this, but let's make it better, than make it more level than the other level. I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what his argument is. And that's going to be on Jose's tomorrow, you said?
Well, I'm sort of thinking that Jose's not going to want it to have this debate. I mean, I don't think he wants, you know, he likes the level horizontal argument. It's not good to have on their channel. So I'm sort of like, he didn't mention it today. And Babs hasn't really come back to us, and so yeah, I'm hoping he will have it, because I like to put this information out there.
Okay, well, you guys are welcome to have your debate here if it falls out over at Jose's, if Babs is up for that. So just let me know. Actually, tomorrow night we've got Eyes to See, aka Smurfer Girl Whatevs, coming over to tell us about Foucault's pendulum. So she's been doing some research into that and wants to discuss that in detail. So we'll see exactly what she's got. That should be cool.